Welcome to my channel Skyward Stories. A breakup feels like the world has suddenly shifted beneath your feet. Everything that felt familiar is gone. The rhythm of your days changes. The silence becomes louder. Your mind begins replaying memories like a movie you can't pause. And even though you know life must go on, your heart argues otherwise. This is the moment when most people fall apart emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. But the Stoics believe that the hardest experiences in life are not punishments. They are training grounds. They are forge fires where stronger versions of ourselves are shaped. A breakup is painful, yes, but it is not destruction. It is transformation waiting to happen. And the first Stoic lesson is simple. You don't heal by fighting the pain. You heal by understanding it. The Stoic approach begins with acceptance. Not acceptance of defeat, but acceptance of reality. Many people remain stuck in heartbreak because they resist the truth. They cling to the past, fantasize about what could have happened, and try to resurrect what is already ended. But Stoicism teaches that suffering increases when we fight what is already beyond our control. You cannot control whether someone chooses to stay in your life. You cannot control their feelings, their priorities, or their path. You cannot force love to return by chasing it. What you can control is your response. Accepting the breakup doesn't mean you are okay with it. It simply means you are no longer resisting what is true. And the moment you stop resisting, healing begins. The second Stoic principle is emotional responsibility. You cannot give someone else the power to dictate your emotional state. Breakups hurt deeply, not only because we lose a person, but because we lose the identity we built around them. We lose the dreams we imagined together. We lose the version of ourselves that existed in that relationship. But the Stoics remind us that your emotions are your responsibility. The breakup didn't destroy you. Your interpretation of the breakup is what causes your suffering. When you say, I cannot live without them, what you are really saying is, I depended on them for my sense of self. And dependence is where heartbreak becomes devastation. The Stoic way is to recognize a pain without surrendering your identity to it. You can grieve, but you cannot collapse. Another core Stoic truth is understanding that relationships do not end accidentally. They end because they reach their natural point of completion. Stoics believed everything in life has a cycle, a beginning, middle, and end. Love is no different. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people arrive to teach you, some to test you, some to awaken you, some to break you so that you can learn to rebuild, and some simply drift away because their chapter in your story is finished. This is not failure. This is nature. Try and hold on to something that wants to leave only deepens your wounds. Real wisdom is knowing when to let the story close. The Stoic way to handle breakups also emphasizes detachment, not emotional numbness, but emotional clarity. Detachment means recognizing that what left you is never fully yours. You do not own people. You do not control their hearts. You do not dictate their loyalty. Detachment is the art of loving fully while accepting that losing is always possible. It is a strength to say, I appreciate what we had, but I release you with grace. When you detach, you take back your power because your peace no longer depends on someone else's presence. One of the toughest lessons is learning to sit with your emotions instead of fleeing them. Stoicism does not ask you to bury your feelings. It asks you to face them when you're heartbroken. Your instinct is to distract yourself, to run into someone else's arms, drown yourself in attention, stay busy, keep noise around. So you don't ever feel the hurt. But a breakup is a mirror, and the pain exposes parts of yourself you must confront. The loneliness shows you where you depended too much. The sadness shows you where you attached too deeply. The anxiety shows you where you feared losing control. And the silence shows you who you are when everything is stripped away. Running from these emotions only guarantees that you will repeat the same patterns in your next relationship. Stoic healing is facing the pain, not hiding from it. The Stoics also teach that what hurts us often helps us more than what comforts us. Breakups expose your wounds, but they also reveal your strength. They strip away illusions, but they reveal truth. They break your routines, but they push you to grow. There are wounds only heartbreak can open, and there are strengths only heartbreak can create. When someone leaves, they do not take your worth with them. They do not take your future with them. They do not take your identity. Your life does not shrink because someone walked away. Sometimes your life expands precisely because they did. One of the most powerful Stoic practices after a breakup is shifting your focus from loss to lessons. Every relationship teaches you something about what you need, what you must avoid, where you're strong, and where you're weak. Maybe you learned you were too available. Maybe you learned you sacrificed.